here at Henley Royal Regatta, the Friday, 9 o'clock, the Fawley Clares Court School to the left of your picture, and the Windsor Boys School on the back station. Go! So Matt Pinson gets them underway, and this is what we were just talking about. All the preparation. Now, how's the steering in this early stages? It looks certainly on the buck station, the Windsor Boys School had a really good first few strokes. Now they're heading a little bit central, but that was a pretty decent start from both boats. Yeah, both crews picked a nice line. Interestingly, they can just see them again. They just looked out across the Windsor Boys crew. I noticed that of the first 2 or 3 strokes, just 2 or 3 of the members of the crew just glancing back to the right to the Clares Court School, whereas when I saw Clares Court, they're just nice and focused, really in their boat. Let's see how this all unfolds. As we're coming through that Temple Island start phase, both crews getting that high speed. Now we want to think about how can we sustain this down the course. Thomas Beaver in the stroke seat there, Clares Court School. Will be happy enough with the way they got away from Temple Island, but they are behind Windsor Boys School. You can see there Joe Wellington in the stroke seat. He's in charge of the steering, and Cam, he was the one you were referencing who had a definite look to his right to see where the other boat was. Yeah, I'm sure Mark Wilkinson watching this back will be telling, you know, staying your eyes in your boat. We're trying to execute our start, but looking at this shot here of the Windsor Boys crew, what I love to see is the symmetry, the synchronicity. This looks like one person rowing if I copy-pasted it down the boat. And not just the bodies, but have a look at the oars and then also the spoons going in the water. That's where you want the ultimate synchronicity to time that hull and pushing it down the water. So good start for Windsor Boys School on the back station, getting an early lead against Clares Court. Proper local derby, this one. Maidenhead against Windsor, 2 very local towns. And we're having a look now at the Clares Court boat. Thomas Beaver there in the stroke seat, Joshua Spanswick, James Howlett Bolton and Arthur Llewellyn, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, all with previous Henley Royal Regatta experience in the Clares Court School boat. They know they've got their work cut out because Windsor Boys School have forged ahead. It's a good way to do it, isn't it? Attack the race early. It's what you want to be doing, particularly in these races where, you know, coming to the Friday of Henley, you want to make sure you get the business done. You want to get it done early. And particularly in the bigger boats, it's very hard to change your speed from top-end pace down to race pace. So you want to make sure you get off the start with a very high speed. And Windsor Boys School here doing a lovely job of that high race pace quad scull rowing. And as the week progresses, yes, you get more familiar with the conditions and the water and the feel for the water, but the competition gets sterner, doesn't it, with every day that goes by. And they've been regularly on the water since Tuesday. They'll be getting very used to the routine of racing here, but then weariness could kick in. Yeah, and we've talked about this in some of the other races, is making sure we manage the tournament or manage the regatta. And this is a lovely shot. On the left-hand side, you can see the Windsor Boys crew, ultimate synchronicity. They've just got that length or so of clear water, so you can see the crew behind you. You know exactly where they are, and you can now cover a push if Clares Court start to come back at us. We heard Grace talking about potential distractions during Henley Royal Regatta week, and I talked about fatigue just now. Physically, yes, obviously, because you've raced several times before by the time you get to this stage of the week, but also emotionally, because it's a long day, isn't it? And there's a lot of logistics around these races. The race, yeah, okay, less than 10 minutes of physical exercise, but mentally, all day you're in danger of getting frazzled. That's the double-edged sword of Henley Royal Regatta. There's so much going on. Possible distraction, but also it adds to the beautiful experience of rowing down this iconic course and getting these iconic shots that we're looking at now on your screen. And also the physiological demand of these races, particularly in the heat, particularly in the sun, it really puts a big stress on the body. So it won't just be about what we're doing in these 6 or so minutes on the course, but also recovering after. Yeah, certainly Tuesday, sizzling hot here, and that would have taken its toll Here at Clare's Court School, digging deep, trying to get back into the race, trying to narrow that gap between themselves and Windsor Boys School.
A nice shot of Thomas Beaver in the stroke seat. Interesting, in this boat, it's steered from the bow, so the person to the right of your screen at the front of the boat. So that's Arthur Llewellyn, and he's got the foot just controlling where that boat goes. I can just see it moving around a little bit. And those oars just not quite as in sync as the Windsor Boys quad. And as you can see from this shot, what that translates to is several lengths of boat speed.
Yes, that can explain this margin at the moment. Windsor Boys are enjoying. So Bailey Taylor in the bow seat for Windsor Boys, Isaac Thornton, Reuben Taylor, and we mentioned Joe Wellington. Here he is, Joe Wellington in the stroke seat, just coming into view now. And they are moving really well, and you can just make out the top of the picture there, the finish line. Coming into view in front of Stewart's enclosure. So high quality performance. You'll expect the margins of victory perhaps to be reduced a bit as we go on through the rounds. They become more competitive, the races. But Windsor Boys School have got themselves a fantastic lead here.
Yeah, they will have had this discussion before the race. They will have said, we want to win, we want to kill the race early, we want to execute our plan. And now you can see that rate of striking is just coming down. So they're managing that workload and that energy. And make no mistake, this is a high caliber event for the Windsor Boys School. They have a legacy here. I think they hold the records from 2018. This group will have, I'm assuming, had that discussion around, we want to win at Henley, but we want to try and get the best out of this crew as we possibly can. Where can we go? Can we challenge for those records if the conditions are right?
Well, they beat Marlow in the final of the Fawley. They are the holders of the Fawley from 2024, and Windsor Boys are going to move into the weekend in the Fawley this time round as well. They beat Ben and Jesuit by 2.5 lengths yesterday, and just as comfortable today against Clare's Court School. So through they go into the weekend.